Hello, and welcome to another fruitless effort episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I am a Tiny Habit certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach. I have lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for over 6 years. And with me today is
Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds. I am one of the hosts of the show. I've kept it off for over 6 years, and we are here to talk about it.
We are here to talk about it. And speaking of talking about things, do you know that at work people talk about things?
No.
They do.
No.
That's one of the best things to talk about around the cooler.
No,
the
that's
water
just
cooler.
That's a myth that big water cooler wants you to believe.
It's been a while since I've worked in an office. Do they actually still have 5-gallon water coolers?
Yeah.
There's no filtration system. It's actually like a cooler.
No, it is definitely a thing, and I definitely run into people at the water cooler, and people from the other side of the floor that I work on. I only see them around the water cooler, literally. It's it's kind of funny.
And this is something that I'm actually asking you because I don't know. So I worked in an office for a number of years, and it was just a plain Jane water cooler.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those space age ones that has the piping hot water and cold water, or is it just water?
Yeah, no, there's hot water and cold water.
What?
Yeah.
You're living in outer space.
I know.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it might be. I might actually be in outer space. It might be sort of like a sci-fi situation where I go to work and I get out of the elevator and I'm actually in outer space.
I am getting a better picture of your working environment just from this podcast. I never would have asked you about your water cooler otherwise.
Yeah.
But did you also know there are other ways that people talk not around water coolers? Did you know?
I've heard of people having conversations in other ways.
So I am here to tell you that Donald was on a Zoom call.
I was on a Zoom call. So I work for, I won't say the name of it. I work for a big company these days that everyone knows. And as part of work, you can voluntarily attend some very interesting, sometimes very interesting, talks, Zoom presentations, and I recently attended one on growth mindset.
He was voluntold to do
I was voluntold.
Do you actually get voluntold to do do you get better placement if you join these Zoom calls? Are they
No, not these particular ones. We have certain trainings that we have to go to, but this one was totally voluntary.
All right, well, what was it about?
It was about growth mindset. I said that already.
Okay.
Part of a growth mindset is listening when your husband talks. So this presentation, they said a lot of really good things that tie into things that we say on this show all the time, and I thought it would be a nice exercise to kind of go through a lot of what they said, add some of our own weight loss and fitness razzle dazzle to the situation, and make it an episode of this podcast.
Well, and I think, too, and we talked about this during the Olympics as well, that all of this stuff that we talk about, all the mindset and the growth mindset and possibility for change, guess what? Organizations are doing it as well because they want their employees to succeed and thrive. There is no benefit to anyone for stinking thinking, which we've actually done an episode called Stinking Thinking.
Yeah, we did.
But it feels a lot better when we do have a growth mindset.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that there is a tendency, in my experience, and maybe there are more podcasts out there, more books out there that talk about this kind of thing. But I think that we as a society have a tendency to just tell people, just do it.
Just do it. He doesn't work for Nike, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
A company that you know.
Yeah, exactly. Just do it. Just don't eat as much. Just exercise more. Just lose the weight. What is the problem? Or you were given a very sort of paint by numbers diet that is, you can only eat this many carbs every day, or you can only eat, this many points every day. And they don't really go into how to make that last, or how to develop the kinds of mindsets the kind of ideas that are going to get you there and get you to do it in a lasting fashion. So let's start out by asking yourself, which of these two statements resonates more with you? Statement 1, no matter what kind of person I am, I can always change substantially. Or statement 2, I am a certain kind of person and there is not much that can be done to really change that.
Well, in the before times, before I turned 41, I think I was in the second category of like, this is my life, I guess. Like, there's no way to change. And
yeah, definitely. And I would say things like this, these are my genetics. I was born hungrier than most people. I was born with a bigger capacity for food than most people.
You have actually said that.
Yeah.
Like, I am never not going to be hungry forever and ever and ever.
And things like, well, I'm a couch potato. Like, I'm not one of these athletes that gets out and gets exercise all the time. This is just my natural inclination. And I've heard people say, well, my family are all from Germany, so I can't possibly, skip the sour cream and the bratwurst like when I'm eating things, because that's just how I am. This is how I was born. And I think that, getting over that kind of thing and realizing that you can grow and change is really one of the most crucial steps in hitting a goal weight and really, developing a lifestyle that allows you to maintain a goal weight.
Well, and I think too, for me, the number of times that I tried to lose weight, what I believed about myself was that, one, I was broken, and two, and most dangerously, that when I hit my goal weight, I would magically just be able to burn more calories forever and ever. Like, there was this, once you got into the thin person club,
right,
that, speaking of clubs that companies might be in, anyway, that was totally obscure. You're not going to be able to get golf clubs. I don't know. There's many kinds of clubs. But I just thought, like, my belief was, this is the way I am, but if I undereat for a really long time, then I will be a totally new person. And that was magical thinking. And my mindset, I thought, was like, I am a realist. Life sucks. Nothing is fair. And if you have positive thoughts, then you're obviously not paying attention to how hard life is. And I know that that's really terrible, but that was actually what I thought through my very early 40s. And it wasn't until that moment in January of 2016 where I was sitting in my car feeling overwhelmed and sad and like I couldn't button my pants, where I actually sat there and thought to myself, maybe my mindset is not going to get me what I want in life. And maybe it's time to start thinking and listening to people who have better and more effective mindsets than I do. And that's when I started listening to podcasts. And it really did change my life. And your mindset is maybe the most critical thing, aside from pumping up the volume with vegetables. I don't know, vegetables aren't actually the most important thing, but like your mindset is maybe one of the cornerstone aspects of weight loss that really matter. So our mindset is the lens through which we view the world. One of the ways we view people and our world and ourselves is through either a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And that fixed mindset is where I was. It's too late. This is just the way I am, all of that. But a growth mindset is more like clay. You can like mold and grow and change. And we did it in our 40s, and we think you can do it too.
Yeah, a fixed mindset is a belief that people don't change, that they are born with certain talents and abilities, and that those come naturally and are relatively set at birth. And a growth mindset is a belief that people can change, that they can adapt, grow, learn, and improve over time through their lives. And, you know, as Catherine was just saying, I very much believed in a fixed mindset for most of my life. I very much had a fixed mindset. But through this process of achieving weight loss and lasting weight loss, I have really developed a growth mindset. And now I know if I really take these steps to get somewhere, that I can do it, that I can grow and change and become a different kind of person.
Well, and I'm actually just thinking about this right now. We're watching a TV show right now where there's a caste system. Like they're the serfs and they're never going to be the royalty people, and they're just totally different people. And I think that's ridiculous. Like caste systems are ridiculous. Everyone should like grow on merit and not based on history.
Right.
But I think our mindset is almost like a caste system. Like, this is the way I am, and this is the way it is, and there's no way I can be this other person.
Yeah, you think you're either a noble or a servant, or and you're not going to change.
I've learned something from television.
Yeah,
this is very
exactly.
exciting. So, really thinking about breaking out of that caste system of your beliefs is so critical in your weight loss progress. So we're going to go through sort of the fixed mindset language compared to a growth mindset set of values and beliefs. Okay, so I am going to list sort of the aspects or the attributes of a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset avoids challenges, gives up easily, sees effort as fruitless or just lip service, ignores useful negative feedback, and feels threatened by the success of others. And that is basically was a picture of me at age 40.
Yeah, and that last one, feeling threatened by the success of others, is like a huge thing that I see all the time in people. And I still sometimes struggle not to be jealous of others' success myself. But a growth mindset, if you have a growth mindset, you embrace challenges. When you reach obstacles, you persist. You see effort as a path to mastery. In other words, you can't get great at anything unless you practice it. When you receive criticism, you learn from it, and you find lessons and inspiration in the success of others.
And that is a really big one. And I think, we've talked a lot about happiness. And one of the sort of cornerstones or the big changes for me is I used to be jealous of everyone. Must be nice to be anybody other than me. Right? Like anybody had it better than me. Like, oh, you're in prison, 3 square meals a day must be nice. Like I was just so good at, instead of one-upsmanship, it was like one-downsmanship. And being happy for other people really is a change in like your personality, who you are at your core. So I think these are super important. So in a growth mindset, we say, I am becoming, right? There's an evolution, or I just haven't done this yet. So there's that possibility for change in front of us. And it's so important because when we have a growth mindset, we believe we and others can grow and improve. Our confidence increases. We tend to be more creative and innovative, and we are more resilient. Oh, we talk about resilience as well.
And so, how do you shift your mindset? There is a quote. I know Thomas Edison is controversial in for a lot of reasons, but there's a famous Thomas Edison quote where he says, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And so what we can take from that is that when you don't succeed at something, you've learned another way in which it won't work, and that you can then try something new to improve. So to shift your mindset, you shift your internal dialogue from inner critic to inner coach. And we've talked about this a lot. And that is, instead of saying, I'll never do this, I won't be able to get it, I'm stupid, or I just can't get it. You talk to yourself like you would talk to a loved one. And you say to yourself, I can do this. I just haven't done it yet. I will be able to get there. I will be able to figure out a way to do this. And you coach yourself. And it really does make a huge difference how you talk to yourself. Because when you say things about yourself, you want to be right. So when you're saying negative things about yourself, a big part of you wants to actually be right about that. But when you're saying positive things about yourself, then a part of you wants to be right about that as well.
Well, and I think too, moving from praising natural talent to praising progress, effort, and development is super key in actually being a coach. If a coach was just like, Billy's naturally talented at this. You're garbage. And until you're exactly as good as Billy.
Right, yeah.
But actually, like, there, I think are awards in the world of sports of like most improved, most progress. And I think focusing on that really matters in personal development.
Yeah. And look, I know it's anecdotal, but I've heard lots of stories of athletes in particular who, when they're young, they coast on their natural talent. And that might take them all the way to a professional level. But then they get there, and all of the people who didn't have as much natural talent, but really put in the work and kept working and kept growing and improving, those people pass them by.
Look at that glow up. Everybody loves a good glow up. What?
Exactly. Another thing to do to shift your mindset is to focus on progress, not perfection. We have a tendency to really focus on being perfect or having a streak. Like, I'm going to go to the gym like every day, and then you don't go once, and then suddenly you're throwing up your hands and going, I just can't do this. I'm never going to get there. And rather than focusing on all the progress that you made on all those days that you did go to the gym, or a calorie streak, something like that. You're eating at a calorie deficit, and then you have one day where you go over and you just give up because you've now ruined it. You've ruined all your progress, but you need to focus on the progress that you're making and not worry about being perfect. It is being consistent over time that matters. It's not being perfect that matters.
Well, and I think too, as a kid, feeling like if I wasn't perfect, and this actually happened, like kids make fun of people, right? If you don't do something perfectly, like, oh, you got struck out, or oh, you tripped, or whatever. Like, there's a lot of embarrassment in that. And our mindset of like, if I don't hit this streak, grown-ups are going to make fun of me. Like, I'm sorry, what world is that where people are making fun of you for like, not thinking about other kids on the playground making fun of you, but people around you want you to succeed and want to see all sides of you, the good and the negative. Like, having a support system means just having people who are rooting for you, not judging you.
Yeah. And the next thing to do is really recognize your performance over time. It can be really easy to look at how far you've come and dismiss it and really think about it as, oh, well, anybody could do this. It's not really a big deal. Well, I started at 5,000 steps. Now I'm hitting 10,000 steps every day. Yeah, but that's, 10,000 is not 20,000. And really, focus and acknowledge how far you've come and how much your performance does improve over time. Even if you're not where you want to be yet, you're heading in the right direction, and focus on that.
Well, and we keep moving the goalpost when we do have success. And this is even true when we were going through the Olympic episodes. Like, there are actual Olympic gold medalists who come home and are like, well, it wasn't that great, and the competition wasn't all that great, and it wasn't really like, I don't really deserve this, I don't think. Like, how can an Olympic athlete not believe that they are worthy? And when we keep moving the goalpost of success, when I hit 10,000 steps, then I'll be a success. Oh, well, that's not very much. When I hit my goal weight, then I'll magically feel proud of myself and satisfied. That doesn't happen. We become the people we're going to be by being proud of every step along the way. And when we move the goalpost and keep changing our metrics for success and feeling proud of ourselves, we're just setting ourselves up for failure over and over again. If good is never good enough, then we are incomplete people.
Yeah. And then the last part of this, well, not necessarily the last, but the last part we're going to talk about right now is to go from focusing only on results to also focusing on growth and learning. And, look, I'm guilty of it too. I would get on a scale and the weight wouldn't be where I wanted it to be, or I wouldn't have lost as much in that particular week as I wanted to. And I would focus on the negative of that instead of focusing on all of the growth and learning that I had done over the course of that week or that month or whatever it was. And knowing that if I continue on that path, eventually the results will come. If you keep adding habits and keep, adding to your growth mindset, it's eventually going to move the needle in terms of the results, but focus on that growth and learning instead of just on those results.
So I know we gave you some broad ideas about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset, but now we're going to go through and compare and contrast those two. So I'm going to share the limiting beliefs, and Donald is going to go over to the growth mindset part. So here we go. I'm going to start with this is me from the past. Like these are things that I used to actually say to myself. This is just the way I am.
And having an empowering belief might sound like, I have what it takes to make lifestyle changes.
Okay. The next, if I haven't figured it out by now, I never will. That was me.
If you adopt a growth mindset, you would say to yourself, I am always learning and refining my behaviors.
Okay. Another is, there aren't enough hours in the day.
Or if you have a growth mindset, you say to yourself, I can find a few minutes a day to focus on my goals.
Okay, this was a big one for me too. Limiting belief. It's wasteful to throw away food.
Yeah, this is a really hard one for people. I think we've all had this drilled into us. But if you have a growth mindset, you might say, my health goals are more important than these leftover French fries.
Right. There was, like someone the other day bought tortillas and didn't want to waste them, even though they didn't like them. I'm like, $2, $2 of like 5,000 calories, is that really worth those extra calories you're going to have to burn off?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
And like just, you're at a restaurant, you're not going to bring home like 1,000 calories worth of leftovers just because it makes you not feel wasteful. Like you're just punishing yourself. You're not actually solving any problems by doing that.
It's a loophole in your brain because you just want to eat more food.
Yeah, that's also true too.
All right, so this is another limiting belief. It's selfish to put my needs ahead of those of my children.
Or if you have a growth mindset, you might say, the better I take care of myself, the better I will be able to care for my family.
Right. Ugh. Okay. A fixed mindset, anything less than perfect is failing.
Or if you get rid of that, you have an empowering belief that is, progress and consistency matter in my goals and setbacks are normal.
Do you know that at work I used to joke that second place was the first loser? I was being kind of jokey about it back in the day, but like when you really think about the first loser, like what kind of a jerky thing is that?
I need to start saying that to my coworkers. There's no context under which that would actually like matter in my job. Just saying like, hey, second place is the first.
But the way we actually talk about things matters, even in a joking fashion. Like, my way or the highway. Like, all of that actually sticks in your brain. So, okay. So, the next one, if I don't lose 10 pounds by my birthday, I am a failure.
Or you say to yourself, I'm so excited about my birthday, and taking steps to feel good is a wonderful gift to myself.
Ah, that's lovely. All right. And then another sort of the final fixed mindset, no pain, no gain.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's such a bad one that we all...
1980s garbage.
That we all seem to have taken in as a belief. But an empowering belief is small daily investments in my health will pay off in the long run.
Right. So these are all examples of the way that we can talk to ourselves. And the thing about our thoughts is that we can make up whatever story we want for ourselves.
Yep.
We can paint the picture of our lives as either a victim or someone who can overcome challenges. So we're asking you to really think about the way that you find you're talking to yourself and think about at first, and we've talked about this too, is it can feel artificial to speak kindly to yourself when you're so used to berating yourself. It can feel like, well, only, like dumb people, like, oh, I can't make a change. Like, oh, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. And that's the way I used to be. But noticing the way you talk to yourself is sort of the first step in this. What do you hear that inner monologue? What do you hear your coach saying? And when you notice, and this is sort of where the tiny habits come in, when you notice yourself feeling defeated, when you're feeling discouraged, or when you notice that limiting belief come in, that's when we have the opportunity to use that as an anchor moment of like, oh, look at the way I'm talking to myself. How could I reframe this? Even saying something like, I can't do this yet, can help change it from this is never going to happen to there's a possibility for growth and change. So noticing the way you talk to yourself and just changing and reframing it slightly to, you know what, I can figure this out. And I notice this even for me when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling discouraged, when like life challenges happen. And there's been a lot of challenges for us in the last year. When I notice myself folding back in to, I can't deal with this. This is too much. I'm overwhelmed. When I notice I'm saying that, that's just retreating to like a place of fear, but pausing for a moment, taking a deep breath and saying, I can figure this out. We're going to get through this. I have what it takes to get this done. Even just changing that mindset, going to being your own cheerleader can help you calm down, take a breath, and decide what the next step is. We don't have to figure out everything at once, but saving that space for ourselves to take a breath and look for possibilities. We find more possibilities when we believe they exist. When we have that fixed mindset of it's impossible, we're going to prove ourselves right by shutting down. We shut down that part of our brain that comes up with solutions, but opening up ourselves to the possibility of growth and change and reframing the way we're looking at our problems will help in the end. If we can make up our own stories about our lives, if it's all fiction, like whatever story we're telling, why not go with the success story? Why not go with the version of yourself that has grit and determination and resilience and bounces back from setbacks? That feels so much more rewarding than just believing that it's too late, I'm too old, and it's too much to take. We know, being people who had fixed mindsets for decades, that these small changes, pausing and reframing, will help. And I know that if it can help us change, it can help you change too. We believe in you. We are your cheerleaders, and we believe that this is possible for you.
Absolutely, 100%. And I've decided I'm listening to you that I'm going to go with the version where I work in outer space. That's what I'm going to tell everyone moving forward. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. And if you would like to listen to more of these, we are on all the major podcast platforms. You can find us wherever you found this episode. And I am told that, and I haven't actually vetted this myself, but I'm told now Spotify has all of our episodes all the way back to number one. You can also find every episode on YouTube, or the most recent 300 on most of the major podcast platforms, or again, every episode on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
I don't even know where our website is anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for Join Our Support Group, where you can find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan. It's like a BYO plan. Bring your own plan and then be supported by people in all aspects and varieties of their weight loss journey ventures. We have people doing calorie counting, intermittent fasting, Weight Watchers, so many different plans. But in the end, our mindset is plan agnostic. So come on over for support, accountability, fellowship. We do weekly Zoom meetings. We've got multiple ways for check-ins, day and night. So come and join our support group. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly option with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right right for you. I'm so proud of the group. Everyone is working together. So come join, get some growth mindset and some support and fellowship. WeOnlyLookThin.com. Join our support group. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Please do that. And you can also interact with us on social media. We are on Instagram and Facebook at We Only Look Thin. Or you can reach out via email. We've gotten some lovely emails lately from listeners. You can send us some episode suggestions or ask us some questions or just give us some compliments. We like all of those things, and you can do them at weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep, and if you have a couple of extra minutes, please head over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know that what we're doing after all of these years is still mattering to you, it makes us feel good, lets us know that it is all worth it, but it also boosts our ratings in the outer space algorithms and helps other people find our podcast. So take an extra minute. It is a way to support us and let us know that we matter in your joint venture.
Yes, indeed. We would really appreciate it. And another thing you can do is just tell somebody about the show. The next time that you are huddled around the water cooler at work, you can just say, shout out the name of our podcast randomly to people. That would be good. Other coworkers of yours. If you know somebody who you think might get something out of the show, if it comes up in conversation, or if you are on the interweb, if you are in a Reddit group or a Discord server or a Facebook group, something of that ilk, and you want to give us a shout out, that really does help the show grow, and we would be grateful.
Yep. So if you're concerned that your HR manager is going to bring you in for a little talk once you just start shouting our name at the water cooler, just remember that Donald and I are an inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.